Hi, Capricorn. This is Moonlit Taroscope, and I am so excited that you've taken a moment to check out your December 2018 reading, Taroscope reading. Calling this a Taroscope, I've been reading, cartomancy specifically for a long time now, but as far as reading for astrology signs, it's coming new to me, although I'm quite familiar with astrology and star signs. So it's a bit of a new endeavor for me, but I'm really excited to get started, and to get any of your feedback is appreciated. If you find any of this makes sense to you or has some sort of meaning to you, please comment, let me know, or just email me to connect with me at moonlittaroscope@gmail.com. Likes, shares, and subscribes are very much appreciated, as this is a brand new channel, and my goal right now is just to sort of put this out there and see if I can be helpful to anyone. All right, so Capricorn, before I ever do a reading, I spend a few minutes sort of meditating on who I'm reading for, which right now is the Capricorn Nation. So when I was doing your meditation, Capricorn, I really just let random images come into my mind, quite visual, sometimes thoughts, but also images. And I got a lot of sort of nature type images that came to my mind. First was seashells. The second image I had was of the night sky, of the beautiful night sky. Sometimes darkness can be absolutely beautiful. And Capricorn, being born in the winter solstice in the darkest time of the year, I think you guys know really how to embrace the night sky and darkness, and not really metaphorically, but actual darkness. I also saw a deep, rich red, like a brick red. Literally like a brick red, like maybe you're building a foundation of some sort. Okay, so that may or may not have anything to do with the reading. That may have something to do with just a couple of people that happen to be watching this, that it has some significance. Or I like to say, keep an eye out for these objects, for these colors over the month of December, and pay a little attention to them, as it might be something that would be beneficial to you to take a look at. So I have, again, seashells, the night sky, and a deep red color. All right, so jumping into your reading. In your recent past, I'm seeing sort of the theme that I'm getting in your recent past. This was actually reversed. Was the Ace of Cups, which is typically like, hey, it's, the highest form of receiving emotion that you can get, and love, specifically love, but all kinds of emotion. It's just sort of an outpouring. And then the Three of Pentacles and the upright, is people paying attention to you or recognizing the work that you've put together recently on some sort of project or whatever endeavor that you might be starting on. But both of these cards are in the reverse, and then we have the King of Swords. So what I'm seeing in your recent past is that maybe you've been feeling a lot of giving and not much receiving. Like, I'm giving this out. I'm showing my emotion, I'm showing my work, and you're not taking notice. Nobody's taking notice of these things. You know you're doing it, but maybe in such a quiet way, or I don't know. You're putting these things out here, but at the end of the day, they're not being received. And then we have the King of Swords, and so because the King of Swords is next to these cards, the King of Swords is an intelligent man. He makes really wise decisions. He can see all sides of things. But on the other end of the spectrum for a King of Swords, it could be an older gentleman or just has an older authoritative energy, an authoritative figure. And the King of Swords can be quite distant. Okay. So even though he might be recognizing these endeavors for whatever reason, this person in your life is not wasn't recognizing you, or, saying, hey, Capricorn, I've noticed all of this things that you've been showing me. You've been showing me this emotion. You've been showing me your work. And yet it hasn't been recognized. But this is your recent past. So this is what's been going on in your past. So I see this, it kind of makes me sad. Like, hey, I'm over here, I'm working, and yet nobody sees what I'm doing. But your present definitely sort of clarifies and really shapes everything up that I see in your recent past, because we've got 3 major arcanas in your present. So major energy going on around you right now, Capricorn. We have the World card. You know what I really like about the World card is it's sort of like, here I am, as you can see, she's nude. This is how I am. I am accepting reality, and I have found my place within the world. Okay. I've done my learning. I have nothing to hide, and I am really going from student to teacher. Okay. So it's a really fantastic card. And to me, it just symbolizes being, connected with the world around you, accepting things the way they are, okay? But being at peace with it, and being willing to be vulnerable because you have nothing to be ashamed of. Next to the World, we have the Hierophant. The Hierophant. This card is really just, I don't know. A lot of people associate this card with Taurus, which is an earth sign. I am really associating this card with you right now. Capricorn, specifically just because of your recent past, because here, look at the Hierophant. He's being listened to. Do you see these monks down here? They're listening to him. So when you want to talk about going from student to teacher, sort of like, okay, I've accepted reality, I'm comfortable, and now people are listening to you. You have something to say. You have something to give. And this is a spiritual gift that you're putting out there. So it could be a gift of knowledge, of emotion, a commitment. I see Capricorns of people that really know how to commit to a thing, especially to a new endeavor. I mean, you've thought it through deeply, and the Hierophant, to me, this symbolizes you right now. So you're getting this recognition, and not just it's not really just recognition. It's more like, wow, Capricorn, we hear you, and we want to learn more about what you have to say. And so this is your present. So you may not be aware of it, but you may have a few people around you that are listening to you and learning from you. And I think for you, Capricorn, this is a place that you're very comfortable being in. And this is a place that you desire being in. You like to be guiding and helpful to other people. And they are listening. So in your recent past, all of this stuff was being overlooked and ignored. But right now, people are listening. And then next to the Hierophant, we have Justice. Okay, so, hey, guess what? All of this unfairness is coming to an end, okay? All of this sort of no recognition, maybe this person kind of got you down, even though you were doing these things and you knew you were doing them. The person that you were looking up to, this authoritative figure, it wasn't necessarily that he was ignoring you, or she. This could be or he or she, just an authoritative decision-making type figure. May have just not been paying attention, but somebody is. People are. folks are paying attention to you. And it's because you've kind of just accepted the reality of the situation. This brings fairness and justice just into your life right now. So things are balancing out. And I think right now, Capricorn, you're feeling pretty good. You're feeling vindicated. You're feeling like you have a purpose and people are listening to you, and that you're able to build a foundation of something really meaningful. So let's look at your future. In your future, we have the Six of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles. And in between this, we have the High Priestess. So the High Priestess is also a very spiritual entity, just like the Hierophant. But the High Priestess is a little bit more mysterious and a little bit more secretive about what she knows. So she's not as interested in teaching as she is in using her knowing, her psychic energy to influence people around her. So we're still looking at two figures that are spiritual and guiding, but in two completely different ways. But this relates to the Six of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles. So what this is telling me is that the Six of Pentacles is, do you see how the gentleman, he has scales, all right? And he's being fair and generous. He's literally, these scales are not necessarily the scales of justice as much as they are, I'm weighing out the fair amount of prosperity to share, and you're sharing it. You know, when you're at the Three of Pentacles, people are just recognizing that you have something to share. Nobody recognized it in your past, but you've already moved all the way past that, and you have things to share. And this could be money or resources or just knowledge, career. There's so many scales here. I really feel like you're in a really balanced place, and this is going to be really good for your resources moving forward. The Seven of Pentacles can be a little bit of a frustrating card, but because we have the High Priestess between the Six and the Seven of Pentacles, the major arcanas trump, okay, the cards that are surrounding it. So if you have this energy of the High Priestess where you are using your spiritual and your psychic knowledge with regards to your money, to your coin, if you're using that knowledge in a quiet way, you're going to have the patience that you need to build up your career, your new job, your finances, your home life. The Seven of Pentacles, to me, can sort of symbolize some frustration and some impatience, but the Six of Pentacles also, to me, symbolizes fairness in dealings with money. So I think the High Priestess, being that she's trumping both of these cards, is if you listen to your inner guide and not necessarily share all the information that you have regarding your field of study, whatever that might be, when it comes to your resources, you're going to do just fine there, and that's your future. But right now, you're in teaching mode, which is great. Are you looking into studying law? Are you officiating a wedding? Actually, there's so many different ways these Arcana cards can go. But that's just how I'm particularly reading the cards in this order. So I hope that makes kind of sense to you. Now, at the bottom of the deck, you have the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands is speedy messages coming in quickly. And to me, the Eight of Wands is really the overall the overall energy of this whole reading, because you're right now, or in your past, you felt stuck, unrecognized. There was some sort of conflict here. And then very quickly, some messages that came in, maybe from the universe, maybe from the world, just the world in general. Maybe you're focusing too much on one specific person to get your approval from, but the world comes in and says, no, you're okay. You're perfect just the way you are. Show us yourself. Okay? And from there, you were able to share. And that's where you get your justice. Okay. So in your future, I see you building up some resources. I see your money getting better. And I see you using a quieter approach when it comes to your resources. Okay. So I really hope that this reading had some meaning for you. I didn't see a lot of love and relationships in this reading. If you're more interested in a love and relationship reading, I will be doing more of those readings very shortly, specifically for love and relationships. But this is just a general reading, which means that I just kind of tell you what the cards are telling me. And even though you may have love or relationship, well, of course you have relationship. We all have relationships. Everybody has that going on. This particular spread is a little bit more about you, where you're at financially, and where you're at with your status in the world and the people that are around you. So I hope that this resonates with you, Capricorn. And before we go, I like to pull a couple of advice cards from my playing card deck. This is an old, dirty, I've spilled stuff on it, this deck. I've written all over this deck. It is not pretty. It's not a pretty deck, but it is like sort of my old standby. It always works for me. So let's, real quickly, let me do a quick shuffle for Capricorn, and let's see, what advice do we have for Capricorn, December 2018, general reading? What advice do we have moving forward? What advice do we have for Capricorn moving forward? I'm asking all of the angels and the spirits that dwell in the white light, in the bright, white, positive energy source where I draw my cards from. And let's see what the cards have to say. I have to shuffle some more. This is taking a minute. You're being difficult, Capricorn. Being difficult. Hang on. What do we have? Shuffle. All right. Okay, so this one wanted to come out. Oh. Ace of Spades. All right. Watch out for some sort of corruption. And let's clarify that. Reconciliation. Maybe this has to do with the King of Swords. King of Swords is not a corrupt person, but maybe in your mind, we always have those little cops in our mind that are telling us we're not good enough, that we have to, not just rely on our own resources, that, we can't, how do I verbalize this? I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time verbalizing this. Okay. So, I kind of like to think of them as cops in our mind. They're not really cops, but they're just sort of this limiting influence that just doesn't have as much faith in you that you have in you. And this can sort of lead to corruption, but I don't really think this has much to do with you specifically, or maybe what has been going on around you in your recent past. And this is why we have justice involved in your present. This is why the Hierophant is involved. The Hierophant and justice is like the absolute opposite of corruption. So when I see this as an advice card, I just see it generally as, hey, keep an eye out for it. Don't allow yourself, because corruption can be very tempting. So if you're starting to make money and you find a quicker, easier, less ethical way to make money, that's when corruption can kind of like seep in, and it can seep in a very, in a way that you don't even really know it's seeping in. And before you know it, you look back and go, I'm not sleeping as well at night. Don't know that I went about that the right way. So as an advice card, just think of it as, something to watch out for, okay, in your business endeavors and in your financial endeavors. And Seven of Hearts reconciliation. I like this for you because you have this Ace of Cups where you feel like you're giving love, but you're not receiving love. So as an advice card and as a card that comes in the future, this advice is telling me to take heart. Your love is going to be accepted and received and recognized. It just hasn't happened quite yet. Okay. All right, Capricorn, I hope that really helped you out. Please, I would love to hear your feedback. Comment, let me know what resonated, if anything resonated. If you want a personal reading, if you want to get more into your relationships, more into specifically what is going on in your finances, you can just shoot me an email at moonlitteroscope@gmail.com. And I appreciate your attention. You made it all the way through my video. Yay. And have a wonderful rest of the month, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.